So everything hinges on this video, or this video is everything about hinges. Either way, we're covered. So what I want to talk about today is actually what makes a good hinge on a pair of glasses. It's kind of pivotal for how this all works. I am not done with these puns yet, and I don't know if I'm going to make it through this video. I hope you guys do. So the big thing that glasses are made out of course, we've got the material for the front and the sides, but everything comes together with the hinge, right? That literally keeps the frames together in place, makes them easy to put up, and hopefully makes them wear well for a very long time. Now, I am very particular about the frames that I carry. You all know that. That's nothing new, but let's run through some of the different options. The basics are, there are fixed hinges like you'll find on some of the silhouettes out there. I don't have one of those here, but we all know what they are. They're the big, long, springy temple that just kind of fits, right? They fold up on their own, it stretches out, it's a titanium flexy thing. It does its thing. And then you've got the, of course, the open and closing fixed hinges, which are more commonly the 3, 5, and 7 barrel options. These are what you'll find on a lot of the handcrafted and boutique grade frames here. So the more basic of these is going to be the smaller 3 barrel. Those take up a little bit less space. They're not quite as thick and heavy duty. They certainly do the job. They serve their purpose well. And you can see the hoops on either end there are kind of what make that up. So you've got 1, 2, and 3 as you go down through that hinge. So very simple, basic 3 barrel. Works great. There's millions of them out there. There's various types of construction and materials that they're made out of, and that's just part of it. So you can't just go off of that, but those are Italian 3 barrels. They're great stuff. Anyway, now on to the smaller 5 barrel. This one is the next step up from that. And still, you've got the little bit thinner hoops on these, but it's still that solid 5 barrel construction. These, the good ones, are going to open fluidly. Those screws aren't going to back out very easily, and you just have a nice function overall. That is a little bit thinner. In this case, that's fully riveted front and back, and you can actually tell that because you can see the rivets where the hinge mounts, and not just in the front or the side of the frame. As you can see, you've got a 2-count rivet on either side. And of course, it's there on the front too. Then you've got the big beefy guys. These are my favorite. It's what's in my frame, or at least this one, and that is the bigger, thicker 5 barrel hinges. These are very nice, fluid in motion. Durability is, of course, very, very strong, but you'll see nice, easy actuation. You don't get any clunkiness, no stickiness. You can even operate that one-handed very, very easily. That's one of my favorite designs because it gives the screw a little bit more to grip on. There's a little bit more motion there, and of course, it's strong, right? You've got 5 thick layers to that, so they're not very likely to break. You're more likely to damage the acetate itself before you tear up that hinge. Now the next step from that, of course, this is a really thick acetate, so you can't do the riveted front and side. There are limitations to how those work. You'll find this in some of the other brands out there. Leibach and York, of course, one where we've got the thicker fronts, 8, 12, and above millimeters. When you get into that thickness, the rivets just don't hold. That's just how it works. And of course, aside from that, you do have the fully riveted 5 barrel hinges. So also, still very nice construction. This is that vinylized collection. They're all made in Budapest. They're kind of cool with the vinyl front. But again, you've got that boutique grade construction with that thick 5 barrel hinge fully riveted into the sides and the front. There you go. Now this one is a little bit different. I'm still not sure how I feel about this hinge, but my clients that have it tell me they love it. You don't have to worry about maintenance, there's no screws, there's nothing, it just works. And that is this. Looks weird, I know. I still am not a huge fan of it, but it is right there. You see that little ball on the front? That's the hinge. Closes, opens, never moves. You can see it from the back. That same ball is on the same side. It just sinks down into that nylon acetate front. And there you go. That's all there is to it. My fear of those in the long term would be, of course, sand or dirt getting down inside of that hinge and grinding away at the nylon or acetate material that it's bedded in. Because what's going to happen then is it's going to become loose with time, and that's going to cause it to fail. Now, I haven't seen it happen yet, so obviously they've got the tolerances under control to where that's not as big of a concern. If they tell me it's not an issue, they're trying to sell me frames, so of course they're going to tell me it's not an issue. But I have not had any come back with that yet. The next step there, of course, is the spring hinges, and that is, of course, these guys, right? We know, we love them, everybody loves them, or everybody thinks they love them until they find out what doesn't work with them, with the fit. When you have it fit properly and it works properly, it is good. Now this is probably the least expensive value hinge on any of the frames I have. It's still a good hinge. It's just the least expensive I happen to carry, so it's the one I can show you how the cheap hinges work and where the problem is. These, again, still not really the bottom value hinge, but it, for demonstration purposes, will work. And what that is, of course, is you've got your spring area here where that spring connects to the temple and goes back through the core. And the way those work, you've got just that little bit of give there, and of course it snaps shut. Now, the value hinges, if you can't spot them looking at them and working with them, what you'll notice on these is you do have a little bit of play up and down, and they do tend to wiggle just a little bit up, down, side to side, left, right, everything else. There's some slop there in the hinge. Obviously it's not as great of construction. Now compare that to this guy. We all know this frame, I wear it, and that is going to have a much higher grade spring hinge where you can see, of course, very nice fluid motion there. Snaps down on the bottom half of that, and my fingers are in the way, but you'll see it just pulls itself down from there. And of course, there is no, see that? That is me trying as hard as I can to twist it, not getting anywhere with it. You've got a little motion up and down, and that's it. Other than that, works great. Those tend to hold up for a very long time. That is a pretty darn good spring hinge. The next step up, here is something you will not find on many frames. This is a Japanese hinge. It is a double spring hinge, and this is basically a 5-barrel hinge with a spring in it, and I can't get my hands to work with this. There we go. So you can see you've got the 2 little slots in the frame front there, and there it is. So now you've got your 5-count loop. You've got the one on the top, the one at the bottom, one in the middle, and then you've got the 2 pieces of the barrel coming out into the front of that. Extremely fluid. Kind of their goal here and what they were after with these was keeping that luxury car feel. This is a Porsche design frame. There you go. And that is exactly what they do. Shuts just like the doors on a luxury car, and that's their whole thing. High-end, luxury quality, super nice stuff. Now, I am a big fan of those Japanese spring hinges. The ones on the Spanish frame work well too, but these guys, far and above in the long-term durability. You know, if you and when you're talking about keeping frames 10 years and above, that's something that works really, really well. Now, I'm not saying I've seen one of those Japanese double spring hinges fail, but it is a potential failure point and always something to keep in mind with any of the spring hinges. Now, I did not get into saddle row hinges. You may be interested in that because it is a vintage hinge design. And what those are is a little bit different. So you've got a shield on the front. It's similar in function to that ball hinge from Porsche, which is one reason I am inclined to believe them about its durability. So you see you've got that little shield there on the front. It is a 3-barrel hinge, just a thinner 3-barrel, because you've got the one piece that comes out from the temple, and you've got the 2 pieces coming out from the frame front that connect to that. You can see that a little bit right there. Not really well, but a little bit. But of course, the big thing there is you've got that nice shield that connects and locks to the front, keeps it really cool, clean, and seamless right there. And then that is riveted through on the front and back at its attachment point, which is, of course, really nice. So it's more of a niche hinge, so I didn't get into that too much with all these others. Just something fun there on the end for you guys. Now, of course, with all videos, I would love to know your feedback, what you thought of this, what kind of hinges your frame have. Let me know. But if there's anything in particular you would like to see, tell me. We'll address that next time or sometime soon after, depending on if I have other stuff planned first or not. But I'll get to it. Outside of that, you guys take care. I will see you next time. If you don't already, like, subscribe, follow along so you can keep up on all this cool stuff.